They lose to the Giants 21-19.
Yeah.
Okay. So they lose to the Giants 21-19. Okay, fine.
They scored points,
They
though.
scored
so
points. I honestly, the final result of a preseason game does not matter to me.
Nah.
It just doesn't, because not all your starters are playing. They're not playing the entire games. The result of the game doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you have Jake Luton out there throwing passes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Dude ain't making your squad.
No.
He's only there in case, for example, if there is a long-term injury to one of your other backup quarterbacks. Okay, this guy's, you can keep him around.
Yeah.
That's why he's there.
Yeah, a loss in the preseason is fine for me. It's just how they lose. That's my main thing.
We're trying to evaluate how the starters look, all right? Offensive and defensive starters that played on Friday each got 2 series. So let's dive into those. Okay. 5 things from the Carolina Panthers, 5 things I want to touch into. Number 1, overall better.
Yeah.
From game 1 to game 2, I was at Bank of America Stadium game 1, seeing them in game 2, especially offensively. It was nice to see a long, sustained drive. We'll get into offensive and defense good and bad here in just a moment. But overall, better.
Yes. Progress.
But not great.
No.
Here's Frank Reich, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, giving his analysis of the second preseason game.
Was happy with how we approached this for 60 minutes, the intensity, the energy that we played with from start to finish. Obviously, we'll look at the tape. We'll clean the things up that we need to clean up. But happy with how physical we played, with the consistency of that physical play, and then for 60 minutes. We got to clean up some penalties, but other than that, we'll get the execution cleaned up on the tape.
Yes, you do need to clean up penalties. I'm sorry, Hayden Hurst, you're a veteran. Don't be false start on a 3rd and 1.
Shouldn't be doing that.
Should not be doing that. Hey, Chandler Zavala, let's not have a holding penalty on a pass play that gets us inside the 10-yard line. Actually, down to the 5. Don't do those things.
No.
Okay, but overall, better. Also, Frank, please don't say we're going to check tape.
I know, I'm triggered.
I'm sorry. We're going to go check the tape. No,
Frank,
we're done with that.
Stop it.
We're done with that. We know you're going to check it. Don't tell us.
We already know.
Don't tell us.
It's part of your job. Keep it under wraps.
Overall, better performance. That's what we wanted to see. Progress week 1 to week 2. Was it great? No. Far from perfect, but there's some optimism in some areas where you're like, okay, we saw improvement. Things are going to get better. All right, which leads us into the second thing. Let's get into some of the offensive good. Man, Bryce Young looks poised beyond his years.
He does.
He really does. One of the plays that impressed me most, it was an incompletion, but he started to roll a little bit to his left, slipped, fell down, got up, scrambled away from pressure, but still kept his eyes downfield trying to find an open target, directing traffic, tried to hit Adam Thielen down the right sideline, overthrew it a little bit, but he made sure he put it in a spot where only Thielen could make a catch.
Yep. It's impressive.
That was impressive. It was still an incompletion, but the way that he was still able to sit back and read the defense, slide away from pressure. I just think even in the first drive where Jonathan Mingo didn't finish running his route on that 3rd and 4, so it ended up being a 3 and out. We'll get into Jonathan Mingo and all that a little bit later on in the show. But how he went through his progression, slid away from pressure, and kept his eyes downfield. He didn't get flustered right away like some rookie quarterbacks can do. Heck, there are guys like 4th, 5th year in the NFL that as soon as they get pressure, bolt and run.
Yeah, done.
He's not doing that. So him being able to read through his progressions, even on that long drive, the 15-play drive that resulted in a field goal, he had a big completion to Jonathan Mingo where he read the blitz, hot route, made the right read, perfect throw. So those kinds of things, again, those are poised beyond his years for a rookie quarterback. So, okay, that's the offensive good. Here's Frank Reich, the head coach, giving his evaluations of Bryce Young's performance.
I thought Bryce looked sharp, put together a nice drive, would have liked to have us finish it off. Obviously unhappy with the number of penalties we had. I don't know what the total number was. Yeah, 8, too many penalties. But I thought Bryce looked sharp. I think he wanted to throw the ball more, I think he came off wanted to throw a little bit more, but I thought he looked sharp.
Yeah, let the young man cook. I actually really liked it. I know it was the result was officially a run play for 1 yard by Bryce Young, but we saw a nice little play action, a bootleg for Bryce Young earlier in that first drive where they went 3 and out. It's like we saw the mobility move the platform for him a little bit. Now, the Giants covered it really well, so he's like, okay, I'm going to take this yard, step out of bounds, didn't force anything. Looked like he could have fit something in either to Thielen or Hurst, but he read the defensive backs that were crashing in on those receivers. So he's like, you know what? If I force this in there, looking at a pass breakup, get tipped ball, you never know what's going to happen after that. So he made the good decision, made the smart play, got a yard, stepped out of bounds. I like the fact that they used him in play action a little bit more. Here's Bryce Young talking about how, you know what? With every drive that he's played 5 drives so far here in the preseason. Things are getting a little bit more comfortable for him.
It feels good, but, I think, again, it's just a day-by-day approach. Watching the film, I feel like there's always room for improvement, always stuff I'm trying to grow in day by day. So I think, the more reps, more experience, especially when you get to go up against another team in a game environment, those are kind of, that's invaluable experience for me, especially at this stage. So definitely grateful for it. A lot I want to improve on and get better at, but I'm going to keep taking it day by day.
Live reps are good for Bryce Young. We'll dive more into Bryce Young a little bit later on in the show. Let's get to some third thing. Couple good defensive moments. Now, we'll get into the defensive bad here in a little bit, but I want to point out some good plays and some good moments. It was nice to see Jeremy Chin coming up to the line of scrimmage on a little pop pass. I call them little pop passes where the quarterback's in shotgun and they just that little toss forward, the little pitch forward to either a running back or a receiver that's just coming across the formation. You're just popping the ball forward. So I just call them a little pop pass. Daniel Jones, a little pop pass. Jalen Hyatt, who's one of the fastest guys coming out of college this season into the NFL. And Jeremy Chin comes up, makes a great tackle for a loss, fights through a block. That's the plays that we want to see Jeremy Chin make, right?
Absolutely.
V, you know this as well as anybody. When his rookie season, especially, when he was up around the line of scrimmage, he made a lot of plays like that. That's the Jeremy Chin that we want to see. We want to see him around the line of scrimmage a lot more. Also, on that drive, early on that drive, it was, I think, the third play of the game. Off of play action, Darren Waller was wide open coming across the field. Great closeout by Von Bell, dislodging the ball from Darren Waller as well. That's the reason why Von Bell was brought in, because he's got the speed and versatility to cover in space. So it's like, okay, couple good moments. Otherwise, overall, not really good first drive for the Carolina Panthers defense. Daniel Jones picked them apart and they moved the ball right down the field with ease. And there's no Saquon Barkley out there either. So they moved the ball down the field with ease. I will say in the second drive, they did force a 3-and-out. I will acknowledge context here. The Giants went with their second team. Tyrod Taylor came out there. They didn't have Darren Waller and some of those other guys out there. I fully acknowledge that.
All right,
I fully acknowledge that. But they still did what they were supposed to do. Also, it was nice to see Frankie Louvu on a blitz, made a nice move on the running back who was trying to pick him up, made a nice move on him, got a piece of the football when Taylor was trying to make a pass. On third down, Louvu's versatility, I think, is going to be good. I actually like him when he's blitzing.
Yeah.
So, nevertheless, okay, you got the job done that you're supposed to do. You went and got your 3-and-out. You got to take the rest of the day off. Let's go to the fourth thing. Let's go to the bad things on offense.
Uh-oh.
Why does this offensive line stink?
I know.
Why?
Always.
Why?
Yeah.
And it's not just Ike Ekwonu.
No, can't blame
It's
all
not
on him.
just Ike Ekwonu.
No.
Now, he was bad. We're going to dive into Ike. Coming up at 1:15, I'm going to break down some individual players. Ike, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Ike looks slow out of his stance. Apparently has miscommunications with in terms of protections and all that kind of stuff, like miscommunication, that kind of stuff. Which for a lot of them missed assignments. All right, so Frank Reich has told us this multiple times. Hey, we're keeping it generic. We're keeping it vanilla. We're running our base stuff because we don't want to show teams in the preseason what we're really going to do. Or during the preseason, we're not going to show teams what we're really going to do in the regular season, right? Keeping it super base, super generic, super vanilla. Well, if this is your base install stuff, why are you having miscommunications?
Yeah.
Like, if you're having that kind of issue still with your base stuff, what happens when on Wednesday or Thursday you're rolling in new plays for this upcoming week? What's going to happen on Sunday
when
you're trying to do that?
Yeah.
Like, if you still can't master your base stuff right now, I'm sorry, you can't get the phase 2, 3, 4, 5-year offense during the season. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't evolve as an offense if you can't actually have good communication and knowing your assignments on your base stuff. Now, I understand. Okay, sometimes you just might get beat. Like, you might make the right play, but the guy in front of you also gets paid. He might just beat you. Okay, you can work on that. But the missed assignment stuff, come on.
Yeah, we got to communicate.
It's
Basics.
It's just simple stuff. Like, for example, when you get 2nd and 9 at the 10-yard line, I got Kayvon Thibodeau out there on my left. There's no one to my inside, and it's like, wait, I thought maybe there's a running. I'm sorry, you thought a running back or somebody was going to pick up Kayvon Thibodeau?
No.
Well, you got no one to your interior, no one else on the outside rushing. That's where you turn. That's like sometimes you look like, hey, you want me to pick up 5, right? That's Thibodeau's number. You want me to pick up 5? Like, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I don't care if the defense knows it.
Yeah.
They know pass plays coming. They still know it. You still got to win that one-on-one, even if the defense does know it. It's like that kind of stuff.
It's one thing to not show your hand, but it's another thing. You have to get reps in, so maybe you have to show a little bit of it because when it counts, you don't want to be doing stupid stuff like that.
It's just, but even still, like it's your base stuff. So like, all right, it's not it's not just on Ike Kwanu. He just feels like he's slow out of his stance. I don't see a lot of aggressiveness in the run game, which is what he was really known for, being a road grader in terms of in the run game. Seems slow out of his stance. Don't see the explosiveness consistently. Bradley Bozeman was getting pushed back. Now, okay, I get it. You're going against Leonard Williams. You're going against Dexter Lawrence. Those dudes are all pro, especially Dexter Lawrence. There's a reason why that dude got paid as much as he did this offseason. But here's the thing. You can't settle for, all right, we're going to let the all-pro guys beat us. We're going to beat the guys who aren't so good, and we're going to be right there in the middle. You know what that makes you? Average.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The standard in this league is not middle of the road. If you want to be better than the 7-10 team you were last season, you got to elevate your level of play. There's a reason why they brought you back, Bradley Bozeman.
Yeah.
And Bozeman was getting pushed back a lot. A lot. Chandler Zavala had a little bit of a rough going. It's his first live action because he missed OTA, or he missed a chunk of the OTAs. Missed the first preseason game, joint practice, because he had the pectoral injury. So it's his first live action. Okay, Bozeman, he's a veteran. Chandler Zavala getting his first live reps. There's actually, I think it was on the very first run play, actually, for the Panthers when Chuba Hubbard just picked up 1 yard on a 1st and 5 because there's an offsides call against the Giants. 1st and 5, Zavala gets beat to the middle. Hubbard has to make a move in the backfield just to fall forward, just to get a yard.
Yeah.
And then Chandler Zavala also had a holding penalty as well. So some rough going overall for the offensive line as a whole. So the thing to keep in mind, though, it's not like you can go out and just, like, you know what, just go get somebody. Ain't that easy. I'm sorry, who's out there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you think just if you have a starting caliber offensive lineman that teams would just be like, yeah, sure, take them.
Right.
Like, no, this is what you got. But if you want, like, a starting level, like, interior offensive lineman or tackle, whatever it might be, you got to give up a lot. Otherwise, this is what you're rolling with.
This staff is supposed to be here to help with that, too, with the offense. I mean, that's why they're here, is to help make our offensive line better.
There's a reason why you brought back all 5-year starters. Now, I know Austin Corbett still dealing with the knee injury that he suffered in the final regular season game last season with the torn ACL, so he's still recovering. There's a reason why you brought your offensive line coach back. There's a reason why you brought back all 5-year starters, because as that season progressed last year, we saw improvement.
Things were clicking.
Things were starting to get a little bit better. Like, you saw the rushing yards they were putting together, but I don't know. The questions still remain on the offensive line. All right, let's get to the bad for the defense. 5th thing here, defensive bad. Shaq Thompson, I love that guy, but man, he cannot cover very well. Him one-on-one against Darren Waller, I'm sorry, that's just not going to work during the regular season. Okay, now I get Darren Waller's one of the top guys in the NFL. I reflect back to what I was saying about Bradley Bozeman facing guys like Dexter Lawrence. I'm sorry, you can't be like content with being beat by the really great ones in the league and okay beating up on the guys who aren't so good. and falling somewhere there in the middle. Now, I know they're running base stuff, things like that. I doubt when the regular season rolls around that we're going to see Shaq Thompson in one-on-one coverage against tight ends very, very often. That's the reason why Deion Jones was brought in, because he's better at coverage. But it still begs the question is this, like, y'all let Daniel Jones just walk down the field on you like that.
Yeah.
Like, walk down the field on you.
Like nothing. Can't do
The
that.
guy who had 15 touchdown passes last year, you let him walk down the field on you.
Can't do that.
So, like, all right. Now, again, I do point out in context, against Tyrod Taylor, they did come out and get a 3-and-out on their next drive. Still a lot to work on.